So you're probably wondering, why did the market drop today, right? If we take a look at the S&P 500, right, look at the ETF, ticker symbol SPY, we see that we are dipping down a little, right? We are falling below the exponential moving average, right? After having 5 days of literally just going up. I had such an amazing trading week last week, right? And it's not only the S&P 500. You could type in, QQQ, which is, the ETF for the NASDAQ, right? And you see the same situation, right? We see this curling down. We see that the price is going below the exponential moving average. We see that the RSI is coming down. We also see that the MACD signal line is curling down below, right? So you're probably wondering, what is causing these types of drops, right? Well, really it's just because we have some really important news coming out, right? We have Chairman of the Federal Reserve, Jerome Powell, having a meeting on Friday at 10 a.m. Now, this meeting is really important simply just because we're going to find out if tapering is going to start now or is that going to start later, right? Now, what is tapering? To really talk about tapering, we have to talk about really quantitative easing, right? So when markets were in a free fall as the pandemic started to spread last year, the Federal Reserve knew it had to act quickly and in a big way in order to stop or avoid the repeat of the 2008 financial crisis. So one of the things that the central bank started doing was they were committed to buying a massive amounts of bonds and mortgage-backed securities each month. And we're going to talk about how much, by the way, right? And it was intended to stabilize the markets and flood the economy with cheap credit. After all, bonds help determine all kinds of rates that are critical to Main Street, from, what we pay on car loans and also, what we pay for mortgages. You guys saw that, to get a mortgage was like one of the cheapest times to really buy a property. You guys saw me buy my first property, right? And you guys are probably going to see me buy my next property in just a few months now, but that's quiet. Yet we see something happening where we see jobs are, doing well, right? The job report is looking good. Yet the central bank is currently still pumping in $120 billion of bonds and mortgage-backed securities in the market each month, right? But of course, there's big consequences to cheap credit, right? We have surging house prices. Houses are just, appreciating so much this year alone, or really in 2020 as well, right? We have pent-up demand after the rollout of vaccines, along with supply chain shortages, and it's really led to surging inflation, right? So if the, Feds keep, pumping in money into, bonds and mortgage-backed securities, and they also have low interest rates, this will cause hyperinflation. And obviously, hyperinflation is a bad thing. So we're going to see tomorrow if Jerome Powell mentions anything about tapering, meaning we're going to kind of ease down on the money that we're pumping into the market. We're going to kind of stop buying bonds, stop buying, mortgage-backed securities, and possibly start raising interest rates, which, of course, is going to drop the market, right? In the short term. In the long term, it's good because it's going to stop inflation from ramping up wildly, but at the same time, in the short term, it's going to look bad. Now, why is it bad in the short term? The thing is, when interest rates rise, both businesses and consumers cut back on spending. And this is going to cause earnings to fall and stock prices to drop, which is obviously a bad thing for the overall market. Short term, good for the long term, but in the short term, we're going to see this big drop. Now, here's my theory, right? I don't think we're going to have tapering start just tomorrow, or talks about it being mentioned tomorrow. I think this is something that is going to possibly be mentioned in October and November, right? And the reason why is because we have to look at the overall COVID cases. This is something really interesting that I want you guys to take a look at. So if we look at what's going on with the cases right now, let's go ahead and pull it up. We see that in August 25th of 2021, we have about 170,000 cases in a day. In comparison to last year, where on around August 25th, we were not nearly at the same levels. August 25th, we were at around this area of 45,000 cases per day, right? So potentially, or actually, we're 4 times worse than what we were last year, and we're not even at the peak of the pandemic like where we were last year. Last year, during the peak, it was in the fall season and the winter season. We saw the peak over here on the chart where we were having 229,000 cases a day, right? And this is simply just because, the flu tends to be more spreadable during the cold seasons, right? Of course, during the fall and the winter. Again, I'm not a scientist, I'm not a medical expert. That's just a common consensus that the flu spreads more during the cold seasons as to the warm seasons in the summer, right? So if we're seeing these big numbers in the warm seasons during the summer, what potentially could happen during the winter is, very urgent, that we have to really take precaution and really look into, because if we're 4 times X where we were in the summer, imagine if we're 4 times X where we were in the winter. Imagine we're 4 times 200,000 cases per day. That's almost 800,000 cases per day, almost at 1 million cases per day. And if that happens, then of course jobs are going to be lost again, right? And we may need to have another quick stimulus package roll out. I mean, this is just all theory, but at the same time, if we continue on the same trajectory with the COVID variant Delta, or the COVID Delta variant, then things may not look good. So I don't think the Federal Reserve is quite yet going to start easing and tapering on the market. So, we're going to see what happens on Friday. Of course, if you watch this video after Friday, what are your thoughts, right, on whatever Jerome Powell said, right? And if you're watching this before this happens, then what are your thoughts on what he is going to say? And with that being said, as a trader, it's really important because we really profit off the fluctuation in the market. So, if the market starts going down, then of course I'm going to start shorting in the short term. If the market starts going up, then okay, things are looking good for a few months until the tapering actually happens. Again, as traders, we profit off price action. So yeah, as an investor, of course with these dips, you really just have to worry about buying the dip so you could average down. Just buy every dip that you can, really. And there's really not much to worry about. But as a trader, there's a lot of opportunities. With that being said, let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. Make sure to hit that like button, and also consider checking out the links in the description below, because with all this tapering talk, you might want to check out the Webull link in the description below, simply just because if you sign up with Webull, you get 2 free stocks, and it could be valued up to $2,000. You never know what free stocks you're going to get. So hey, you may need free money during what may happen in the next couple of months. With that being said, guys, my name is Justin Fernio, and I'll see you guys on the next video.